Hi, everybody, this is Dale from Polytech, and today I want to talk about something really important. I want to talk about whether or not you're required as an American to run around holding IDs of proof of your citizenship. I mean, most of us will carry like a state ID, driver's license, etc. But should you have to have that on you at all times in today's age and the stage that we're in? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So there's a lot of confusion right now whether or not Americans should run around with identification constantly because they have the fear of immigration enforcement asking for this or taking them away and holding them for days and days in a ICE facility without having proper food, proper ventilation, and proper rights to an attorney, all of these different things, or even a phone call. So there's some confusion going around with it. So I just want to clear that up today and talk a little bit more about that. So the narrative that you're required, or the feeling that you're required that you need to have identification on you, is false. There's no federal law, zero, that requires U.S. citizens to carry proof of citizenship. Not a passport, not a birth certificate, not immigration papers, none of that. There's no federal laws that exist in that. The Supreme Court has never ruled otherwise in current times or in past history. So let's talk about the second part of this, the reasonable suspicion that they're using that allows agents to detain people and take them into immigration and actually target them. This is a distortion of the Fourth Amendment. If you don't know what that is, I talked about it a few podcasts back. I went in depth on how it's being used within ICE to get around certain things, or trying to get around certain things, and how the Fourth Amendment actually protects you as a citizen of the United States. So reasonable suspicion must be individualized, specific, and articulable, right? So those are the key things to the person being actually stopped. It cannot be based on the following things like, being near someone else, being caught in the area where they're surveilling, vague, very vague physical descriptors of an individual, refusing to answer any questions because you don't have to answer any questions. Simply just existing in the vicinity of the operations is not a reason to have reasonable suspicion on anybody in the United States. The Supreme Court vindicated the authority for them to do this in September of 2025. There is no such Supreme Court ruling. It's zero. It does not exist. They're actually lying through their teeth on this. There's no decision authorizing DHS or ICE to demand identification from U.S. citizens or individuals absent of reasonable suspicion that they committed a particular crime. Invoking imaginary judicial approval does not give them authority to stop somebody like this. It's a major misrepresentation. And I'm just going to come out to say it. It's a bold-faced lie when they approach people with this. So let's work on claim number 4. Refusing ID allows detention to establish the identity of that individual. This is false. Refusing to carry or show an ID is not obstruction. It's really is not at all. Silence is constitutionally protected by American citizens and those seeking asylum in the United States. When they're using these narratives, like if they're talking to these individuals and saying, if you don't show me your ID, I'm going to arrest you for obstruction. If you don't show me you're an American citizen, I'm going to drag you in this truck and I'm going to face scan you and we're going to identify you anyway, no matter what our constitutional laws are in the United States. So all false stuff, right? Courts have consistently ruled that law enforcement cannot extend detention solely for forced identification when no crime is suspected, like I said before. So let's kind of talk about some of the things that are happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. So the Minnesota video that's been running on CNN lately, where they're talking to DOJ, and she's laying out the groundwork. You have to show an ID. In the video, a woman is walking along the sidewalk in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She is stopped by ICE agents. The woman asserted she's a U.S. citizen. She was not accused of any crime at all. She was threatened repeatedly to be taken into detention, to have her face scanned, as far as obstruction of justice and all of these other things. So let's watch a short clip of that video right now.
you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I don't need an ID to walk around in my city. This is my
Okay,
city.
do you have
This is
some
my
ID
home.
then, please?
I don't need an
If
ID.
not, we're going to put you in the vehicle and we're going to ID you, please.
I am U.S. citizen. I don't need to carry around an ID in my home.
Well,
This is my
home.
home.
Where were you born?
This is my home.
Where were you born?
Minneapolis is my home.
So that video was filmed by a woman who, as you heard, said she is a U.S. citizen. Why exactly was she stopped? Was there reasonable suspicion, which is a legal bar, as you noted, that a crime was committed in that situation? And why was he asking her, where are you born? Like, what was he basing that on?
Sure. So either this is, and I haven't seen this video before, so there could be two circumstances here. Either this is a targeted operation and she's around the vicinity of it, around the target. There's reasonable suspicion because there might be a descriptor, or she could be 5'6" and they're looking for somebody who's 5'6". That could be part of it. They're looking for somebody. That could be part of it. The other piece of it is it could be, I don't know if she was obstructing law enforcement, if she was assaulting law enforcement prior to this, but they either had those Title VIII authorities under the U.S. Code 1357 or they had that reasonable suspicion.
But what do you say to those who watch that and other videos that they're seeing themselves? I mean, this is not just the mainstream media. This is, people are seeing these videos and they're concerned that a place like Minnesota is turning into a police state, and they're going up to U.S. citizens asking for ID and you know, using
I
tactics.
think that there's
So
a lot of fear mongering going on. I think by the media.
But it's not. Hold on. Let me just correct you right there. Let me just. They're watching these videos and using their independence of mind. It's not the media.
I wanted to show you just a little bit of that video so we can kind of relate to what we're talking about here. Let's talk about the claim number 5 that DOJ is using and administration is using to justify just about everything they're doing across the United States, and specifically now right in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Of course, this is weaponization of our system against the people, and it's revenge against Tim Walz for running for office and running against him, and some of the things that he said as a candidate for vice president. Claim number 5, concerns are just media mongering fear across the United States. This is a deflection, and it's a bold-faced lie, and they know it's just being manipulated by the administration to justify the actions that they're taking, and that, ICE agents are not doing all of these assaults. They're not killing Americans in their car and shooting them in the head. They are not beating people. They are not dragging away people. American citizens is holding them in cells for days and days and days. They are not attacking peaceful protesters and, spraying them with pepper spray and all these different things, which they are, right? They're saying these things aren't happening. And what you're seeing on the video, you're only seeing partial of it. You're not seeing actually what happened before and what happened afterwards. But the truth is, the world now is the world of journalism, and everybody has a camera and everybody's taking videos and everybody's posting. So if you're not taking a post by face value for the first one you see, and you do a little research, unfortunately, like the shooting that we had last week, you can paste all of these different videos together and you can come to the conclusion that it's either true, or in this case, it's a bold-faced lie by the administration. So people aren't reacting to headlines. They're really not. They're reacting to what they can see. And what they are seeing right now is masked agents, no visible identification, no stated cause for detention, birthplace questioning when they're not allowed to do that, threats for asserting constitutional rights. There's no normal practices in a democratic society that allows all of these things. When officials refuse, when they refuse to explain their legal basis, clearly distrust is manufactured, and we're not stupid. Let's be clear on everything I just kind of talked about and what you're seeing. Americans do not have to carry proof of citizenship. They do not have to have birthplace questions put towards them, and they don't have to answer them. They do not have to have identifications or identify themselves. It's not lawful. Okay. It's not geared towards proximity. It's not geared towards silence. It doesn't show guilt or suspicion. And keep that in your mind when you get approached by ICE. Calling this fear mongering doesn't make it legal. It really doesn't make it legal at all. It just makes it harder for people to recognize what the truth is and what their real rights are. So take your time. research, know what your rights are in your state, or know what your federal rights are, know what your what the Constitution protects you from, and any amendments as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is Dale from Polytech. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on Substack, on YouTube, although I've kind of given up on going on to TikTok now because I've had 3 accounts shut down and lost all of my followers. Boo-hoo-hoo for me. But go ahead and follow me. I only go over factual information. Thank you so much for listening.